Well, it's now more than 20 years since countries including Poland, Latvia, Hungary and Slovenia were allowed to join the EU. With it came employment rights to live and work in the UK. Well, in the final part of our series looking at the changing face of London through immigration, Nikki Ford has been hearing about the changes we might see around us.
So here we have a super diverse high street in a typical London area, where we have an Ethiopian restaurant, a Caribbean restaurant, and here we have a Polish restaurant, and this is symptomatic of the type of changes which have happened over the last 2 decades post 2004.
This Polish cafe in South London is typical of many that have popped up on the capital's high streets. From 2004, we saw new Eastern European businesses arrive as a result of EU expansion.
A new queue for the newcomers. Hundreds of passengers were arriving at Heathrow's Terminal 1 today from accession countries. There were arrivals from Poland, the Czech Republic and Hungary.
One of the factors at play here is that most other European states have a moratorium on migration from the new states. So these new states are basically Eastern European states plus Cyprus and Malta. So because a lot of Eastern Europeans can't go to other parts of Europe, the natural destination is Britain, and particularly London.
In 2008, those rights were extended to Romanians and Bulgarians too, and a Turkish population came to the UK via Germany, and Africans with a connection to France.
2004 isn't usually recognised as significant as 1945, the Empire Windrush, but it is an important turning point.
But with Brexit, followed by COVID, we saw a fundamental shift once again.
Post-Brexit, you have a decline in the number of Europeans entering the country, but what's happened is that the two new streams are essentially students, and the two countries actually which are most important are China and India.
What is this?
The 1960s saw tens of thousands of migrants come to Britain too from the Indian subcontinent.
I think the biggest migrant group is now Indians, in a sense, which takes us back to the 1960s.
So how do we make sense of why people come to London? Well, at the Migration Museum, they document people's stories.
These are our story wall. We've got these thousands of stories shared with us by visitors. And everybody has their own personal migration story to tell. And this one I particularly love. It says, "I came, I fell in love, I stayed." That shared connection, that shared experience, can be a force to sort of bring us all together, and maybe to think around, what connects us, what ties us, how has these stories, these movements and everything that it's brought helped to shape us and all aspects of our lives.
So as we can see, over 2,000 years of migration, some of the stories from the past are very much the stories of today. And migration has always been part of our story, and most probably always will be. Nikki Ford, BBC London.